Guys, so in today's video, as you guys can tell, we're going to be doing another tier ranking. So this time we're going to be tier ranking all of the Truly Me dolls that I have in my collection. So all of these stock photos are of course from American Girl Wiki. We've got number 4, number 10, number 11, who I did not forget this time. Got number 26, then we've got 28, 36, 38, 49, 58, 67, don't love the stock photo of 67, but what can you do? We've got 74, 75, and 77, and then 87 and 90. For our categories, we've got number 1 top tier doll. This is like ultimate favorite, basically. And then we also have love, but not quite number 1, so they're in the number 2 spot. Decent, but not quite number 2, so this is like the number 3 spot. I like them, but they're not quite number 2, and they're definitely not number 1. Just okay, but not often thought of. So these are the dolls that I have, but I kind of just forget I have, and I don't really use them that much. I have meh, which is just like self-explanatory. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first doll we're going to start with is number 4. So this one was actually a little difficult for me because I love my number 4. But I couldn't decide if she was number 1 or kind of in more of the number 2 spot. But ultimately, I did decide to put her in love, but not quite number 1. And I was kind of also briefly thinking of just okay, but not often thought of because I haven't used her that much. But I did decide to put her in the number 2 spot just because I do love my number 4, but she's not necessarily like my number 1. Okay, so now for my number 10. So I decided to put her with decent but not quite number 2 just because I don't use her that much, but I do love having her in my collection. So I just thought that was perfect space for her. Number 11, do we even have to go over that? Number 1, of course. Now my number 26, this is going to be crazy because she was the first American Girl doll I ever got. She is the one that started it all. However, I don't use her much, and she goes in decent but not quite number 2, which honestly is a little crazy. And I do feel bad because she was my first doll. Like, she started this whole thing. Now, for my number 28, she was my second ever doll, and y'all, this is so sad, but she goes with just okay but not often thought of because I don't use her. I know I should, but I really just don't use her as much as I expected to as a kid. So now for my 36, top tier, number 1, of course. 38, top tier, of course. She was my 3rd ever doll. So 49, I don't use her very much. She's a beautiful doll. I just don't use her. So just okay, but not often thought of because I do often forget that I own her, which is sad. My 58, love my 58. I need to start using her more. I just put her in a cute outfit recently, so she goes with decent but not quite number 2, which I don't think is a terrible spot. Okay, so now for 67, also keep in mind I have the original 67, so the original Sonali mold, so she is in the number 2, love but not quite number 1 spot. And then 74, I put him in just okay, but not often thought of because I don't use him as much as I thought I was going to. I think it's just because he needs a new head, and he has the bad eyes. 75, my favorite boy, so he is number 1 top tier. Now for my 77, I don't use him very much, again, so I decided, it was a hard decision, as you guys can tell. I was going back and forth. I decided ultimately to put him with just okay, but not often thought of. I do think of that doll, but I just don't use him. My 87, love her. She is in the number 2 spot, and the number 90, also indecent, but not quite number 2. So this is the final tier ranking. None of the dolls made it to meh, which is pretty good. But what do you guys think? Are you guys surprised by any of my choices? Let me know, even if you don't own any of these dolls, what you guys would have done. But I think ultimately I didn't surprise myself too much. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments your thoughts. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also make sure to hit that subscribe button so you guys can stay up to date when I post a new video every Friday. Also make sure to follow me on my AGIG so you can see pictures of some of my dolls. And yeah, bye guys!